New York City at 3 a.m, the skyline lights, the excitement, and 2 days to explore it all. From Wall Street to Central Park, Fifth Avenue and more. This is our New York City adventure.
Good morning.
Very early morning.
3:30 a.m. and we're in Manhattan, New York City.
Just coming in to the dock. It's a bit too early for me, but anyway, we've just been met by a tugboat.
In this episode, our Crown Princess World Cruise brings us to the city that never sleeps, New York. We arrive in the early hours of the morning, just in time to see the glittering skyline light up the night. Coming up, we'll take you on a guided walking tour of Manhattan with our friends Jeff and Suzie, starting with the New York Stock Exchange on Wall Street and exploring so many of the city's iconic landmarks.
Then we're going to go catch a cab or an Uber.
The weather threw a bit of rain our way, but it never dampened our spirits. After returning to the ship the next morning, John and I set out on our own adventure, strolling through Central Park, wandering down Fifth Avenue, and soaking up as much of New York as we could before sailing away. 2 days, countless sights and memories that we'll never forget. Once we arrived at the New York Stock Exchange, we had a little time before meeting our guide, so we wandered around the area to soak it all in. The streets were buzzing with vendors selling hot dogs, bagels, coffee, and all kinds of goodies. From the waterfront, we caught a glimpse of the Statue of Liberty standing proudly in the distance, and along the way we spotted a cheeky squirrel in the park, browsed through a souvenir shop, and even stumbled across a commercial being filmed. Then it was time to meet our tour group and set off on our 5-hour walking adventure through the heart of New York City. From the New York Stock Exchange, we made our way to the famous Charging Bull statue at Bowling Green. This bronze bull became a symbol of Wall Street's energy, prosperity and resilience. Just next to it, Bowling Green holds the title of the city's oldest public park, dating back to 1733, once used as a parade ground and even a pasture. We then strolled down to Pearl Street, where we came across the Fraunces Tavern, a historic landmark from 1719. This tavern played a major role in the Revolutionary War, serving as George Washington's headquarters and the site of his farewell to his officers in 1783. From there, we continued to Stone Street, one of New York's first paved streets. Today it's lined with restaurants and pubs, but walking here gives a glimpse of the city's Dutch colonial past with its cobblestones and old world atmosphere. We passed by the historic Cotton Exchange, once a bustling hub where traders would negotiate the city's cotton trade, a reminder of how deeply commerce has shaped this neighbourhood. Then looking up through the towering skyscrapers, we notice a striking building topped with a green pyramid-shaped roof. That's 40 Wall Street, and also known as Trump Building. As we wandered further, we couldn't help but admire some of the stunning old buildings decorated with maritime motifs. Carvings of seashells, anchors and ships, both in the stonework and the metalwork, reflects New York's deep connection to the sea and its role as a vital port city throughout history. A little further along, we came across a plaque marking the Buttonwood Agreement, signed in 1792 by 24 stockbrokers under a buttonwood tree right here on Wall Street. We stopped to read a sign that marked the site of the New York Municipal Council slave market. Established in 1711, this was the official market where enslaved men, women and children were bought and sold in colonial New York. From there we continued down toward the waterfront, where the view opened up to the Brooklyn across the East River. Rising above it all was the iconic Brooklyn Bridge, completed in 1883, one of the longest suspension bridges in the world. It remains one of New York's most recognizable landmarks, linking Manhattan and Brooklyn with a span that has become both a practical crossing and a symbol of the city's ambition. We then wandered through narrow streets lined with old red brick buildings, a glimpse into New York's early architecture, before finding ourselves on Front Street. This area was once home to the city's bustling fish markets, where merchants traded the day's catch in what was the heart of maritime commerce. Turning the corner, we arrived at the base of the Brooklyn Bridge. Standing beneath its massive stone arches at the very start of the bridge was a real thrill. giving us a true sense of its scale and importance.
This was the oldest continuously operating commercial building in New York. Back home, never touched the actual film.
As we continued our walk, we passed by Joe's Pizza, a true New York institution. Since 1975, this little shop has been serving what many call the city's perfect slice. Thin, foldable and fresh from the oven. Joe's has even appeared in movies like Spider-Man, and it's one of those places where both locals and tourists line up for an authentic taste of New York. It felt as if the skies themselves were signalling that we were arriving at somewhere of great importance. Clouds began to gather and swirl around the tops of the soaring skyscrapers near St. Paul's Chapel, a place that has stood since 1766 and served as a refuge during New York's most difficult days. We wandered past the chapel and on toward the striking oculus, its white-ribbed light structure soaring upward like the wings of a bird taking flight, symbolising hope and rebirth. And as we moved closer, the clouds thickened, descending until they seemed to cloak the full height of the towers around us. And then, rising before us, stood One World Trade Center, the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere. A beacon of resilience and remembrance. Just ahead lay the solemn 9/11 memorial fountains, a place of reflection and a tribute to the lives lost and forever remembered.
Remember that nice church that we saw at the beginning?
Saw the face of the art.
Either that or they just built on that. They just did like they do any other time, build on the design.
After some quiet reflection at the 9/11 memorial poles, we continued on and were greeted by a little New York local, a squirrel darting about in the trees nearby. A small, light-hearted moment after such a moving experience.
Possums are marsupials.
Walking back through the quiet graveyard of St. Paul's Chapel, we soon came across an elegant black cast-iron street clock standing proudly in a little park area. These freestanding clocks were once common throughout New York, often placed outside jewelers and watchmakers more than a century ago. We passed the Park Row building, completed in 1899 and once the tallest office building in the world. The red brick Potter Building, completed in 1866, was one of the city's first fireproof skyscrapers, its terracotta facade still making it stand out today on Park Row. From there we strolled through City Hall Park, pausing by the fountain before emerging on to the other side to face New York City Hall. Completed in 1812, it's the oldest city hall in the United States, still serving its original government function, a beautiful reminder of New York's long civic history.
At least I hope he doesn't. And those are balconies, by the way, speaking of whoever said we don't have balconies. But again, nobody ever goes out. You don't see anybody. There's nobody leaving.
We continued our walk past New York's law court buildings, their grand facades and towering columns, a strong reminder of the city's role as a hub of justice and government. we passed by the Manhattan Municipal Building, completed in 1914. This huge landmark has long been home to the city's government offices, and its scale reflects the growing power of New York in the earlier 20th century.
That's where they do Law and Order, the TV show Law and Order. And also that's where Donald Trump was found liable for defraud.
Our walk then led us into the heart of Chinatown, with its busy streets full of shops, signs and the aromas of street food all around. As the rain started to fall, we ducked down Pearl Street and into a little side street restaurant where we warmed up with a delicious plateful of dumplings, the perfect stop on a wet New York afternoon. Chinatown, we wandered into Little Italy, passing rows of restaurants and cafes that still keep the neighbourhood's Italian heritage alive. As we continued, I couldn't resist snapping some of New York's towering buildings, from sleek glass towers to ornate older high-rises that give the skyline so much character. One that caught my eye was the Charles Broadway Rouse building in Soho, completed in 1898 with its white facade, grand windows and decorative detail. It's a standout example of the city's historic cast-iron architecture. Next on our tour, we headed underground for our very first ride on the New York City subway. We boarded at the Uptown and Queen station and rode through to 8th Street. It was all a part of the adventure. Fast, busy and a great experience to tick off during our time in the city.
We're on the subway.
Heading uptown.
Yeah, we're heading uptown. Nice to have a seat. Lovely to have a seat and stop walking for a minute.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Hello. 23rd Street. Oh, Fifth Avenue.
This is 23rd Street being turned into apartments. An office building. For 120.
Just off Madison Square Park, we spotted the MetLife Tower, once the tallest building in the world. Its clock faces still a striking part of the skyline, and nearby the ornate Fifth Avenue clock, first installed in 1909. At the junction of Park Avenue and Park Avenue South, the rain was coming down and the traffic was in full force. Horns and umbrellas filled the scene, a true snapshot of New York City's energy even on a wet afternoon. We hopped back on the subway for another quick ride and soon arrived at one of New York's great landmarks, Grand Central Station. With its soaring ceilings and constant flow of people, is every bit as grand as its name suggests.
Okay.
Grand Central Station is one of New York's most breathtaking landmarks. Opened in 1913, its Beaux Arts design features soaring arched windows, sweeping staircases, and the famous celestial ceiling painted with golden constellations. More than just a transport hub, it's an architectural masterpiece that has become a symbol of the city itself.
We are at Grand Central Station. Yay!
walk farther up the street and see more. That will be the last gigantic office building built in New York. Saks Fifth Avenue, they usually have a big light show. There's St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yes, there you go.
And there's St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
On the final stretch of our tour, we passed the luxury windows, Saks Fifth Avenue, and the towering spires of St. Patrick's Cathedral before leaving the group and making our own way toward the bright lights of Times Square.
Yeah. Times Square.
And then we arrived in Times Square. Even in the rain, we were absolutely dazzled by the neon lights, the giant screens, and the energy of the crowds, a place that truly lives up to its reputation as a crossroads of the world.
Very busy here. Okay, so this is Times Square, everyone. Crazy busy, fun. Where do you look? Where do you look? Where do you look? I don't know.
The final stop of our day was the Empire State Building. Even though the weather meant there wasn't meant to be much of a view at the top, we had tickets and we couldn't resist the chance to go up. As we made our way through the queue, which was non-existent, the experience felt like we had a fast-forward ticket, weaving past exhibits filled with historic photographs, fascinating displays, and stories of how this Art Deco masterpiece was built back in 1931. The journey up was as much about soaking in the history as it was about reaching the top, and before long we were stepping out onto the viewing platform, ready to take in the views, fog and all. At the top of the Empire State Building, we stepped out onto the 86th floor observation deck, more than 1,000 feet above Manhattan. Since it first opened in 1931, millions of visitors have come up here to take in the sweeping views, making it one of the most famous lookouts in the world. Even with the clouds rolling past, we caught magical breaks in the mist, with glimpses of Manhattan streets, rooftops, and landmarks far below. A dramatic and unforgettable way to end our day.
If you look straight down there, you can sort of see. Yeah. Oh, the cloud moved out the way for me. How bizarre! It's crazy. Oh no, just got to wait for the cloud to disappear. So we're on the southern side of the building, and you can't see a bloody thing. No, nothing. Still makes my feet feel bad. I'm feeling a bit nervous. Let's have a look around here, see if there's something to see. There's nothing. I'm going to hang out here a bit longer though. Let's see. Low fence, do not lift children. Apparently there's more. Oh, good. What's out this way? We're looking west here. Oh yeah, you can see buildings. Yeah. Can I see through? Oh yeah. Whee. Oh wow. It goes up a lot higher up there. Oh, you go, look. Yeah. We're looking out towards the east.
We made our way back to the ship in the rain, tempted along the way to duck into a couple of bars for a much-needed refreshment. One stop in particular felt like a true local hangout, where we were relaxed over a couple of beers and let the day sink in. After hours of walking the streets of New York, we were completely exhausted, but it was the best kind of exhaustion, the kind that comes with an amazing day, filled with sights, history, and unforgettable experiences.
It's day 2 in New York, and today we're planning to not walk quite as far as we did yesterday. Yesterday we walked 32,000 steps.
No, no.
And we were a little bit tired by the end of the day.
Sore feet.
Very sore feet. So today we're planning on walking up to Central Park.
Yep.
Having a
And
look
Central
around.
Park is, I don't know if people know, 1 kilometre wide by 4 kilometres long. So that's huge.
Yeah, nice big park, so we're going to go have a look and wander around, but that's the only plan we have for the day. So we might
We'll have a nice lunch.
Yeah, we'll have a nice lunch, bro. That's the only plan. It is uphill from the river, from the Hudson River where we're parked. So
But what's the benefit of that?
I'm puffing.
No, downhill going home.
The benefit is yes. The reason why I'm puffing is it's uphill, but the good thing is we go downhill on the way back. So anyway, keep watching as we go to explore Central.
That view down there.
Day 2 in New York began with a walk along 50th and 8th, making our way towards Central Park. Soon we reached the corner of Central Park South and Central Park West, and as we crossed over the busy streets, gave way to the green, peaceful and almost timeless surroundings of Central Park, a quiet escape right in the heart of the city.
Oh, a breath of fresh air. Yeah.
Central Park is often called the lungs of New York City. Stretching over 840 acres, it's the largest urban park in Manhattan and one of the most famous in the world. Designed in the 1850s, it's filled with lakes, woodlands, open meadows and statues and walking trails. As we explored, we passed one of the smaller lakes, not the vast reservoir. The lake we passed was where vendors were set up nearby and horse-drawn carriages rolled past, offering classic rides through the park. We took a quiet moment on a bench, watching turtles swimming lazily in the water with a beautiful view overlooking the south towards the skyline. It was such a contrast to the hustle and bustle of the city streets just beyond the trees.
They wouldn't even know the sort of view they have. That's amazing view. Those buildings are just scared.
After about an hour and a half in Central Park, we made our way out onto Fifth Avenue, strolling along the parkside beneath the trees. Across the road stood some of New York's most prestigious buildings. Fifth Avenue has long been one of the world's most exclusive addresses, lined with luxury apartments, historic mansions and high-end shops. Walking here gives you a real sense of elegance, with the leafy park on one side and the grandeur of these landmark buildings on the other side.
So we've come out of Central Park now, and we're walking down Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
What reminds you of Fifth Avenue?
Devil Wears Prada,
Yeah. A pretty woman
Pretty Woman.
walking down the street.
Yeah, so it's been quite the walk, but it was nice to have the opportunity to get some fresh air and some K's in the legs before we get back on the ship.
Oh, some K's in the foot.
Yeah, because tonight we head off to Miami. We've got a day at sea and then we're going to Miami, but before we go to Miami we'll just have a little bit more stroll around New York,
With the retail therapy.
maybe a bit of retail therapy, who knows, and hopefully I can get some episode published. We'll see how we go.
At the corner of Central Park and Fifth Avenue, we arrived at one of New York's most elegant intersections. Standing proudly here is a gilded statue of General W.T. Sherman, led by an Angel of Victory, created in 1903. Just beyond, Fifth Avenue opens up into a showcase of luxury, lined with some of the world's most high-end shops and designer boutiques, from Tiffany & Co. to Bergdorf Goodman to Cartier and more. It's a glamorous stretch and perfectly captures the prestige of Fifth Avenue.
Look at this. Avenue, and all we do is walk.
This is where all the big guys hang out here.
Yeah, you're gonna have to be a bit cashed up to hop on one of these.
We're in the top end, the expensive end.
Yeah, awesome.
Anyway, we might buy something. Not sure what.
We might not.
Turning down 50th Street, we passed through the heart of Midtown Manhattan. First came Rockefeller Center, an Art Deco landmark built in the 1930s, famous for its ice skating rink, Christmas tree and the observation deck known as the Top of the Rock. Just nearby is NBC Studios, where shows like The Tonight Show and Saturday Night Live are filmed, and a little further along, the iconic Radio City Music Hall, nicknamed the Showplace of the Nation. It's been hosting concerts and performances since 1932. This whole area is buzzing with energy, history, and some of the city's most famous entertainment venues. And of course, I just had to stop at a street vendor for a hot pretzel. One of those iconic New York City experiences you simply can't miss. As we made our way back towards the ship, we crossed over Broadway, passing the bright signs and busy eateries, including Applebee's, along the way. By this time, we were ready for a late lunch, and we ducked into a little Mexican restaurant, the perfect spot to recharge after another big day in New York City. As we stopped in the little Mexican restaurant, I checked my step counter. More than 32,000 steps on our first day in New York and close to 20,000 on the second. No wonder this rest felt so well earned. After 2 unforgettable days exploring the city, it was time to make our way back to the ship. Next, we'll be sailing south with Cyclone Erin still out there on the horizon to contend with, but also with Miami waiting ahead. Thanks for joining us in New York, and we can't wait to share what comes next. So if you've enjoyed coming along with us in New York, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss the next episode as we sail on toward Miami. We love hearing from you too, so leave us a comment and join the journey.